My first company took over a year and a half for me to reach $1 million in annual recurring revenue. My second company took only 3 months. Stick around to see all the processes that I used and how to actually scale a business even past that $1 million mark, and what you need just to have the bare minimum to get to around $80,000 per month to finally hit that $1 million mark. My name is Ibrahim, and over the past 2.5 years, I've built and sold finally a successful company for around 7 figures. And my business partner, Zain Yakub, has done the same exact thing that I've done 3 more times. He's built and sold 3 other businesses, and he's currently a part of my team at Grow Big Ventures. We now collectively own 6 businesses doing over $5 million in gross revenue every single year. And if I had to redo this and start over again, this is exactly what I would do. First, you need to realize that the market has changed drastically. You keep hearing that AI has taken the world by storm, right? But what does that actually mean? Well, here's what I'll tell you. The number one way my company has used AI to progress itself is to use AI to personalize both the marketing and the sales process of my companies. And I'm gonna go over that with you today as well. Step number 1, if I had to restart, I would structure a really good offer. And now that we're in this day and age, people nowadays value a true connection over a bunch of testimonials and even a good offer. To be able to do that, you need to be ahead of the curve, and you need to personalize absolutely everything, which I'll be showing you exactly how to do that in this video. Let's jump right into it. If I had to restart, phase number 1 is creating a good offer. Now you might be asking me, what is a good offer? How do I even know what a good offer is? A good offer does one of 2 things. Either it saves your clients money or it makes them money. A great offer guarantees your clients money or they don't pay. A good offer is something that is a no-brainer. Think about the biggest pain points that your customer might face, and think about how you can provide them something that's completely for free potentially, or has 0 risk to it, where they have everything to gain and nothing to lose. And that's how you get into the market, by creating something and positioning yourself in a way that makes your offer good. I want to add, every single service-based business and every single B2B company ultimately does one of 2 things. It either saves companies money or it makes them money. What matters isn't exactly what it is that you do, but how you structure yourself as. What I mean by this is, instead of saying, hey, we're a cloud computing company and we can host your server, you could say, hey, by the way, John, I can actually save you more money than AWS and Azure. And the way that we do that is by hosting our own servers at a cheaper price. And what I would do to validate my offer is to connect with my ICP, my ideal customer profile, directly either on LinkedIn, or you can connect with them on even Facebook or even Instagram, really, and offer them exactly what it is that you're offering completely for free, and just say, hey, by the way, I'm building a company that's doing this, this, and this is my offer. It's not ready yet, but when it's ready, do you want me to reach out to you just so you know what this looks like? And if they say it sounds interesting, tell me more about it, then more likely than not, it's a pretty good offer and it's something that you can actually sell. Something on top that you can do is you could say, hey, I have a letter of intent here. Basically, it's a contract that they sign that says they intend to buy. What you can do is you could say, hey, once my product is ready, can you just sign this contract here just so I can for sure know that you could be a potential user? You're not committing to anything if you do sign it. This is just an agreement just for me to know that there's a really high chance that you might move forward with this once I do get started. This works best with apps. This works best with lower ticket items, more like SaaS companies. It can work for service-based companies, but if it's something that's been used and validated before, like email marketing or LinkedIn marketing, for example, everybody has a company like that, even I do, you don't need to go out and validate this offer. Phase 2 is marketing your offer with a $0 investment. If I had $0 to my name, what I would do is I would start doing outreach. I would reach out to people on LinkedIn, my ICP, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and I would provide them my service completely for free for 30 all the way up to 90 days for them just to try it out and see how it works. Once I provided the free service, then I can begin to upsell. But the main point of this is to actually get a bunch of case studies. You want people to say, hey, I tried this person's company out. I've continued using them. I like what they're doing. You want them to create like a video testimonial that you can send to other people and say, hey, by the way, I have this very similar company here that uses my service this as a testimonial and they use my product and they say that they like it, feel free to reach out to them on LinkedIn. And that way you get a bunch of case studies with people that have used your product, are not necessarily paying clients, but people that can vouch for you, which makes the next few other people that come a lot easier to close. Now, this assumes as well that I have zero experience in this specific industry and I've never done it before. That's the easiest way to get into it. If you've already done marketing, or if your background, for example, is in staffing and you create a staffing firm, you can say, hey, by the way, and you can use your own background, or you can use the background of companies that you've worked for. Assuming you know nothing and you don't have any case studies, that's the way to get it. And after 60 days, what I would do is I would say, hey, by the way, Mr. Client, how has the service been? How are you seeing yourself? Do you see yourself continuing to use this after the free trial? They say yes. You upsell them. You tell them, hey, I'd love for you to continue. I'm actually getting a lot of paying clients right now. If you would like to continue, here's the price. I'd love to get you kicked off. Here's a contract. Feel free to sign it. And then the first thing that I would do the second I get money into the bank from my clients is reinvest absolutely everything to it. If you can live on rice and water and reinvest absolutely everything. Now you might be asking me, where do I reinvest this? I've actually put together 2 tutorials on my YouTube channel. One of them is how to do LinkedIn outreach using AI, and the other one is how to do email marketing, and I have a bunch of videos on email marketing as well. Feel free to check those out. I won't go into detail on how to set that up. The videos are all there. It's going to be in the description. However, what I would do is I would still continue getting more clients, but I would put all of my money into outbound. Every single dollar I have, I would put into outbound. And what I would do is I would start to take a bunch of sales calls and I would get a lot of repetition. I'd figure out what messaging works the best. I would validate my offer even further. I'd put in guarantees. By that time, I would have already known how to provide the service even better and how to retain customers even better. And what I would do is I would continuously talk to clients and potential prospects and even sign more deals. No matter how big the deal is or how small the deal is, you can continue to sign more deals. If you don't already have a track record selling that specific product, you can start with a lower price. Now, if you're running like a coaching program, for example, a platform like LinkedIn and a platform like email would actually work just fine. If you're doing staffing, for example, you can still find companies that are looking to get staffing clients. You can still find companies that are looking to hire other companies on LinkedIn, but the platform for you is email. So every single industry is going to be a little bit different. Do some research on what most of your competitors are doing and try to figure it out yourself, because there's only 1 or 2 things can happen. Either you don't succeed, or you don't succeed and you keep going until you do. Because there's only 1 or 2 things that can happen. Either you don't succeed at email or LinkedIn marketing, or you just make it work for you, because advertising works. It just doesn't work for you yet. I get a lot of people that come to me that are like, oh, we've tried this before and we've done it. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with a person that says they've tried marketing, and then they work with me, and then I bring them the leads and I bring them the deals, and they're like, but we've never seen this work before. And yes, the answer is advertising inherently works. The reason why companies grow is because advertising works. The only thing you gotta do is you just gotta make it work for you. And so whenever a company says, oh, this platform doesn't work for me, or email marketing doesn't work for me, especially if they're a B2B business, by the way, most of the time they're wrong. They just haven't figured it out yet. Now, in a world where you already have some capital to invest into marketing, you can skip all the steps. You don't have to reinvest absolutely everything. You can actually start to take some profit into this. But my recommendation is to put as much money as possible into outbound marketing, get a bunch of leads, get them on the phone with you. And even if you're losing money month over month, what you will learn is that within a year's time frame, if you've never done this again, or within 2 years, I'd say give it 2 years for business to work. Within a 2 years time frame, you would already know how to sell and who the people are and how to get in front of the right folks and what to do and stuff like that. If after 2 years business does not work, you can come back to this video and actually dislike it, because I can almost guarantee you if you stick to something for 2 years, it will work, guaranteed. I will put my stamp on it. And when I say stick to something, I mean continuously work on it every single day. The only problem is you have to be willing to actually do that. So what I would do is I would continue to spend my money into advertising and talking to as well as possible. And all that's doing is, rather than it being 2 years, I can bring it down to 6 months and talk to enough people where I compress compress all the things that I need to learn into a very short amount of time because I'm doing a lot more repetitions, I'm talking to a lot more people, and by doing that, we can actually scale faster, and within a 6-month time frame, hopefully we can, get a couple clients in, be around 10K a month, give or take, and sort of, go from there. And just to elaborate, if I actually had money to reinvest, I wouldn't try to get a bunch of case studies, especially if I've already done this before. What I would do is I would still start people on a smaller trial, more like a 5 to 10 day trial, get about 10 or so paying clients, then move to the paid version. The free service, you're not telling them that they're going to move forward to a paid version. You're just saying, hey, look, I want to do some free work for you in return of a case study. Now, assuming you have an offer that works, and assuming that you can market that offer and get people to say yes to jumping on a call with you so you can sell them that offer, and assuming you've closed some deals before, or you at least have now some type of sales experience, what I would do is I would automate a sales team. I would bring 2 people. I would bring somebody who is fully commission-based with a small base salary to come in and take all of my intro calls, assuming I have enough volume. When I say enough volume, I mean you're taking calls throughout the whole entire day, right? Once I have enough volume, I can have somebody go in and actually qualify the leads. This person will get calls booked on their calendar. They will be the person who qualifies the lead, make sure it's the right person, make sure everything is fine, and then puts them on a second call, depending on how large the ticket size is, assuming it's a 2-call close, puts them on a second call with you, you jump in, you close the deal. And the second position I would hire for is a triage person, if you want to call them, more of like a traditional SDR, sales development representative. And essentially their job is when a call comes in onto your calendar and you automate the booking process, again, I could share with you a video on that. Just comment down below on how to automate your booking process and how we get our leads on LinkedIn. But once that happens, they would essentially call the lead and they would confirm the meeting. So they might say, hey, John, I noticed that you're the only person on January 5th that hasn't accepted the meeting that's on my calendar. I just want to confirm, are you still able to join that meeting to talk about how we can potentially work with you, on whatever? So even if you don't choose to move forward with us, we can just have that conversation regardless. It's something that's very chill, laid back, that qualifies them as well, but also confirms that meeting, gets them to show up. What I've noticed is if they are being called the second that they book the call, it takes one hire to be able to do this. You will increase your conversion rate drastically. I've seen my conversion rate increase by about 4x when we call and triage a person before they actually jump on a call with us. As for the splits and what you're looking to provide for the closer, what I like to do is, depending on your ticket sizes and depending on your churn rate, as in how long a client will stay with you, what I like to do is I like to give our closers 25% of month 1 of anything that they close, 10% of month 2, which is the second payment from the client. Month 3 and onwards, we keep that deal and we keep 100% margins on it. But that way they get a small base or potentially a larger base, depending on how good they are. And also they can work pretty highly on a results basis, essentially. Phase number 3, you hire more people. Once your sales system is established and once there are people that are inside of your business, what you can start to do is, instead of you taking all the sales calls and the closing calls, again, depending on how good you are at sales, depending on how good you are at operations, I'm personally, when I first started my very first company, I wasn't the best at sales. So I brought a co-founder in to do the sales with me. He was focused on the business development and bringing deals in. I was focused on the marketing, the lead gen, the fulfillment, and it worked out pretty well. So depending on where your skills are, you can either choose to bring in a salesperson or you can bring in a really good operations person. Either way, choose one or the other. You can't be doing sales and ops at the same exact time. It's very difficult. Or when I say ops, I mean fulfillment, you actually checking in on the client, you doing the work. And so where phase 3 comes in is essentially you building a team, almost like a company culture, somebody to come in and replace you on all aspects related to business. My recommendation is to not cheapen out and to actually hire good people, because in the long run, what you will start to value a lot more when things start to work out is your time. So what I would do is, once I've already established that there's clients coming in, I would hire a director of ops who can become a CEO, who can then potentially even lead the whole entire business. If they're good at sales and they can manage your entire business, you can give them equity, walk away, and they'd be able to manage the whole entire business themselves, depending on, again, how good they are. And your main goal there would be to get yourself out of the day-to-day. You don't want to be doing repetitive tasks in the business. You don't want to manage client onboarding, client satisfaction. You don't want to manage the sales. You don't want to manage the triage. When they say you need to work on the business, not in the business, essentially what that means is you're telling people what to do. You're saying, hey, I'm going to put together this idea. I have this thing, go execute. That's what you're doing essentially. And so the more you do that and the more you spend time on the business itself and the more brain power that you have to focus on how can I get to this next level, the more likely you are to get to this next level, because if you're focusing in the business and not on the business, what might happen is you might get distracted or you may not have time to scale. And so the reason why my first company took a year and a half is because a lot of our time, me and my co-founder, was us working in the business. We were taking the sales calls. I was doing the fulfillment. I was doing the QA for the clients. it was just a lot of things that we were doing that's not necessarily focused on the business. And the only reason why we were able to get to 1 million in annual recurring revenue in 3 months from my current business is simply because we focused solely on the business and we didn't cheapen out when getting the right talent, the right people, and investing into marketing. In fact, month 1 of us running this operation, we spent about, if my memory serves me correctly, $25,000 in expenses to hire the right people, bring in the right systems. Month 2, we spent $36,000 to bring in the right individuals. In December, when things are slowest, we spent $50,000 on new hires, on marketing, on people. Like, our expense sheet was crazy, and we're still taking very little profit home because our goal isn't to be $1 million company. Our goal is to get to 4 million, 5 million as soon as possible. And the only way to do that is to reinvest absolutely everything that we have back into the business, keep only a fraction, invest until you cannot invest anymore. That's exactly what I would do. I would put in every single cent that I have, no matter how much money I'm making, into my team and the talent, like how good they are essentially. And I would put in my money into solely marketing so I can get as many leads as possible. And my goal with this time frame, depending on your close rate, would be to get around 1,000 to 1,500 leads per month. If you have that, you should be bringing in an additional 30 to 40 grand every single month in net new revenue, just because you're investing so much. So it's all going to come back. Now, phase 4 is optional, but you can bring in somebody from your team who, let's say 6 months later, 7 months later, might know everything that they need to know about your business, and you can make them the CEO. You can have a serious conversation with them and say, look, I want to be out of the day-to-day. I want to go focus on other businesses and other ventures that now I have the skill that I've built where I can scale a business and get it past a certain point. And what I want you to do is I want you to manage this business. And then what you do, what I would do personally, is I'd reach out with a completely new offer to other businesses and say, don't pay me until I help you close deals just like I did for my own business. And so because you now did it yourself, you can show other people how to do it, charge them more. Instead of being paid for what you can do, you get paid for what you know. In return, you could take revenue share, you could take equity, and you could start to acquire businesses without needing to invest necessarily, just because you now know how to scale businesses and potentially businesses that you scaled before. I'll give you an example. My current co-founder, Zain Yaqub, we had a business called Omni AI. And with Omni AI, Zain came to us and said, hey, I've built 2 businesses. He only built 2 and sold 2 at the time. And he said, I built 2 businesses. Why don't I just help you? Give me 5% equity. In return, I will give you advisory. And so I'm going to help you get from, I think we were at like 30K at the time. I'll help you get from like 25, 30K to like 50 grand. And that for us was like, whoa, 50K a month, that's crazy. We said yes, and it was only contingent on him being able to help us reach that amount. And then a few months go by, and then what he did is, instead of saying, hey, sorry, I know we're growing a little bit slower, I'm not providing as much help as I would want to, he said, why don't I just give you all the money back that you gave me so far, because he took a percentage, remember? Why don't I just keep a higher percentage rather than 5%, keep 8%? I'll pay you back everything that you paid me, and I'm gonna come in and do more advisory. What he essentially did was he reinvested back into the business, and he kept a larger percentage, and we said yes. And so that's how Grow Big Ventures was built. It was just essentially built on me being very angry that Zain took a large percentage of the business. Then I was like, if somebody who I know and trust can take a percentage of my business and, help us scale and then step out, why can't we do that with other companies? And so that's where Grow Big Ventures was built. And everything that I told you, by the way, it's very, very high level. I mean, you can go into the exact systems that it takes to actually build a sales team and what CRM to use reviews and how they should do the tracking and how we should automate everything. And I'd be very happy. And this is a very general video that I'd love to kind of share with you guys, just so you guys can tell me what you want a video on, and I can make a full long video about which process interests you the most in my business, and I'll share my screen and literally show you our team working on a day-to-day basis and what their workflow looks like, so you guys can have an example of what it could look like for you as well in the next few months. And so that's the 4 phases of everything that I would do to scale a business past 1 million annual recurring revenue. But the thing is, as mentioned, everything that I shared with you is maybe 5% of what actually goes on. There's much more strategy and there's much more systems to it. So if you're a B2B founder and your pipeline is a little bit dry and you're tired of paying agencies and you're tired of trying to figure this all out by yourself, I run a performance-based model where I only make money when I first help you close deals through outbound marketing. That means my team and I will build the whole entire infrastructure for you. We'll set up your sales team, set up your process, and also retain those clients that we brought you, because if we can't retain them, we get paid less. And so we're going to give you everything that we've learned so far and put it into your business. Again, completely risk-free. You only pay us once the deal closes. If you're interested in that, I'm leaving a link down in the description below where you can see if it'd be a good fit for us to work together. Other than that, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to make sure you don't miss any future videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one.